Welcome to my YouTube channel. Today I have a very, very special guest that is going to be talking to us about addiction. Yes, I'm going to be tackling this. And so before going any further, I want to meet Jocelyn King-Delay. Not only is she a colleague, but she's a friend. And so here she is. I'm going to turn it out to her and I'm going to ask her a question about what is addiction. And before you go on that, I would like to welcome you to my YouTube channel.
Addiction encompasses many areas of human behavior that falls under the umbrella of sort of an obsessiveness and compulsive, impulsive behavior. Mm-hmm. And usually when people think about addiction, they think about substance addiction. There are other addictions besides substance addiction. There's love addiction, there's gambling addiction, internet addiction, sex addiction, shopping addiction, food addiction. An addiction is defined as something that an individual does or participates in that is activated on to the point that one's life becomes unmanageable. It also surrounds a sense of powerlessness and an inability to control oneself.
Right. And I would like to add a little bit to that. And that would be that anything that you cannot give up without help, then that is also an addiction. In other words, you cannot stop doing it without actually asking someone to help you with it. And even thinking can be an addiction. And many of us suffer from thinking addiction, which doesn't seem to take much notice, but that is also an addiction, right? Would you agree with that?
I oftentimes think about addiction in the mind or obsessive thinking, obsessive thoughts, ruminating thoughts as a part of obsessive compulsive disorder or obsessive compulsive personality disorder. Just perfectionism can also go under the heading of addiction as well, depending on how that person's behavior activates consistent thinking about their weight or about what they look like or material things or comparing themselves to other people. That can be an addiction as well.
Absolutely. So let me ask you this. Some of the things that I run across in my practice is when someone who has an alcohol addiction or dependency on drugs, and they don't want to actually address that, anything but that. And so what would you recommend to that person when they're coming in for therapy and they don't want to talk about the addiction?
What I would focus on in a situation like that would be, how is the alcohol addiction causing them problems in their life? And if they don't want to talk about alcohol at all, I would take a look at barriers that they have in succeeding, barriers they have in accomplishing their goals, to determine whether or not their alcohol use plays a role in it. And then they would basically be answering that question for themselves.
But a lot of times I'm finding out that most people, unless they have really suffered some serious consequences, they don't seem to be interested in giving up the alcohol, especially alcohol or the drugs.
Our culture has a tendency to make alcohol use okay. It's legal to use it, and our culture promotes it. And sometimes people may come from families where alcohol is used, and they may feel if they stop drinking, it will end their connection to their family, or it may end their connection to their friends if their social life and family life has a tendency to be connected to alcohol or drug use.
Absolutely. This is very good. Now, we're going to be doing a series on this. So today, this is our first series starting, and I am very excited. I think we're going to talk some more about addiction and different forms of addiction. And I also want to talk about forms of denial that people use in order to continue to foster the addiction. And I want to talk about that too, because a lot of times I have found that even though you point those out to them, there's still that denial. It is so thick that just kind of like breaking through that is a job in itself, right?
Absolutely. It's very ingrained, especially if you have a negative type of support coming from your family or your very close friends. It becomes a part of your internal culture, external culture. This is what we do. It's our custom. If I stop doing this, then no one will want to be around me. Or if I stop doing this, I won't be able to talk to people, because without alcohol or drugs, I can't be social.
Thank you so much, Jocelyn. This is all the time that we have today, but we're going to do another session, hopefully next week or maybe later on, and talk some more about this. Is there anything you want to say in your closing statement?
I just want to thank you for inviting me to work with you on this.
Jocelyn, we go a long ways. And this is a very happy moment for me to have you here on my channel, because as you know, that you've been a great friend to me and a great colleague. And so it's such an honor to have you on my channel. Thank you so much. And I wishing you the best.